Hey, Adri, you want to try this Saigon fruit beer?
A what?
You know, a Saigon apple beer.
No. What are you talking about? What's that?
What? You don't know? They taste so good. There's chili, ginger, and this one's apple. I'm trying to speak more Vietnamese. Try this fermented apple juice.
You're not speaking Vietnamese. You're speaking English. Show me what you're drinking.
Here.
Saigon Cider.
Yeah, that's what I said. Fermented apple juice.
Hột gà nướng, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, mắm xào đây.
What's something that happens in Vietnam that would be looked at strangely in your country or another country?
Bum guns. You know, all this talk about like first world country, superiority / supremacy, blah, America's the best, blah. You all have dirty buttholes. How can you be the leading fucking economy and have such cultural grip on what happens in the entire world, but we all have dirty buttholes? How?
It's weird, eh?
How?
It makes no sense. Like, yeah, I don't even want to get into it. It's so disgusting, but yeah, I completely agree. And if I ever move back to the West, it will be the first thing that I do is install a bum gun.
I had friends who came here to visit, and they're like, "This is so weird."
It is at first. It is weird at first.
It's a sensation that I can't live without now, literally.
Yeah.
And they went back to the States, and they got a bidet, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I stayed with them, I scheduled my bathroom time, and I couldn't. It's the only place I used the restroom while I was in Philadelphia for 2 months when I went back to visit in the summer.
And have you been to Japan or used a Japanese bathroom? That's on a whole nother episode. We'll get into that.
Gosh,
we'll do an episode on what was the first on names, and then we'll do
Yes.
another episode on Japanese toilets.
It could be called a bidet a day, and we just talk about
There you go. But we have to do it
cleanliness.
every day. That's a lot of effort. A bidet a day. I know what you meant. And next question.
And I hate effort.
Mắm xào đây.
People picking their noses in public. It can be on a bike, it can be on the gym, it can be in a restaurant. It's all around. That's the first thing. Second one, it's people sitting in public places with their feet, like I'm doing now, but I'm not in a public place. How you call it? On a chair?
Yeah, like, I don't know how you would say it. Just resting on the chair.
Just resting on the chair with your feet that are visible to all the customers around you. And the third, it's of course Vietnamese driving skills, which are just incredibly unique. That's the expression I'm going to use.
5 years I've been here. Every day I'm still surprised. Like, even on the way here, I'm like, what the hell? This guy just like driving down the wrong side of the road at speed towards me. And yeah, every day I'm still
I'm just praying
shocked.
now. I'm praying. When I drive my motorcycle, I go on it and I just pray to arrive safe. That's the best protection, the best insurance I found here.
Yeah, for sure.
Mắm xào đây.
There's a few answers you could do for this, but I think just the lack of personal space here in America, outside of if you're in a subway in maybe New York or something, there's a lot of space and you're not generally coming into close contact. In Vietnam, it's like it's just, that's not, the cultures are different, and it's like just very common to just be very much in someone's personal space, and that for someone like me who doesn't love that has had to like really adjust to. There's a few things culture that probably Americans would sort of find strange, but there is a lack of, people here don't seem to need personal space, where like in the West, I think it's just more common and we kind of crave it. So if you're into a lot of personal space, or if you like quiet, you're not going to get it here, I promise.
The one with the personal space, the only time it really bugs me is when you're waiting in line and someone has to come right on your shoulder. Yeah. And like, you're like, dude, just take a step back. Like, it's still a line. Like, if you go one step back, you're still behind me in line. You don't have to be like on my shoulder.
That happens all the time. Yeah, it's like you can't physically occupy the same space I am, so I'm not sure what the end game is here. But yeah, you're gonna be brushing up against people. So I mean, it's just a thing. It's just and the I mean, people do this in America too, but people don't. If you're talking on the phone, speakers on, you're yelling into the phone. I never liked that when people did it in the West. I also do not like it when people do it here. But that also might be my own issue as well.
I've got a joke on that where there's nothing louder than a Vietnamese man on a mobile phone in a lift.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. I mean, it is just screaming. It's just screaming. It almost doesn't even seem like a conversation. And it'll seem like they're angry, but they're not. It's just a normal conversation. Like, why are you so mad at this? They're just talking.
But I've added to that joke just this week. It's actually no different to two Scottish people. I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it's exact two Scottish people talking about, all right, how you doing, mate? Aye, all right, we get up the pub after work. All right, aye, how you doing? Fucking I was like, it's honestly probably not that different. It's just a different language.
First, and it's not original, I know, but is being 5 on a motorbike, okay, but being 5 or 4 with a newborn baby, you know, with the head still soft, the fontanelle, I don't know in English, the head, still soft. You can do you can.
I guess it can't break when it falls.
It's bad. It's bad. You don't do that.
Do you find how long have you been in Vietnam?
2 years and a half.
Yeah. So do you find the longer you're here, those things that seeing a newborn baby on a bike, which again, for anyone who's listening that's not in Vietnam, this is a normal occurrence that you see almost on a daily basis, is a family of 3, 4 or 5 on one small, and it's not a motorbike, it's a scooter, on a scooter with a newborn baby. Do you find that the longer you're here, when you see things like that, it doesn't faze you? You're just like, oh yeah, it's normal.
Yes. It's not normal. It's dangerous, but it's normal here.
Yeah, and sometimes I like...
Now you see things, we see things, and we're like, but just, okay. It's
you're
Vietnam.
Not as shocked, right?
No. I'm not as shocked as before, and I'm repeating to myself a lot. Every day, it's Vietnam, it's Vietnam, it's Vietnam. Sometimes it's just, I'm smiling, and sometimes I'm so jaded. I'm like, oh my God, this country. But I'm happy to live here. We're lucky.
This is what everyone feels, I think, and maybe even local people as well who've lived here their whole life and born here. There's this dichotomy of like, it's crazy, but it's amazing. It's crazy, but it's amazing. And for anyone who's ever visited here, or for all the people listening who live here, we all know how this feels. There's this thing about Vietnam, there's this energy, and it's amazing. And so we don't want to make fun of Vietnam, but there are so many things that happen here that do happen in other countries. I know it's not only Vietnam. I know that people tell me you go to India and things like that, you'll see equally crazy things. So it's not just Vietnam, but there are a lot of things that go on here, like a newborn baby on a bike, and you're like... But then there's also, I always try and look at things from different perspectives. And at the same time, well, this family can't afford to get a taxi home. It's basically what it is, right? I mean, if that family could afford a car with protective gear around them, if they could afford to pay for a taxi even. So, like, I know I don't want to sound like an asshole and I'm making fun of people. I do understand that if they're on a bike with a newborn baby, it's probably because they can't afford to get a taxi. But at the same time, maybe I'm being too nice, because I think then maybe they can. I don't know.
Same. We are in a developing country, and there is a lot of
poverty.
Yes, and so yes, we have to remember that every day, because we are not living in poor apartments. We are not eating every day in the street for 10K. We are, etc. We see it, and sometimes we can forget it. So it's good to remember that maybe they cannot afford, but also yes, they can afford, and it's just their habit, and it goes faster, and and you can go the wrong direction on the highway, and etc. So it's a mix.
Home country would be Germany, so probably almost everything, like going to the shopping mall in your pajamas. Yeah. That's a common thing here, but I think everything everything beyond the normal is gonna raise some eyebrows. Yeah.
I laugh so hard at that because it is something. And let's be clear, it's females that go out in their pajamas. You never see a male in his pajamas outside his front
Well,
door.
the male they would lift their shirts and then you see their bellies. So
That's the equivalent, yeah, showing off your belly. But I laugh at it nearly every day when I see a female leaving their apartment. I mean, most females wouldn't leave their bedroom in their pajamas. And then here, people will literally go to Vinmart, they'll go shopping in the mall. And not just, what makes me laugh the most, not just sometimes in like their cotton pajamas, which is still, to me, quite funny. They'll be in like little silk Chanel pajamas that I'm like, that's like lingerie.
that's fashion. That's cool.
Which again is just these differences that the cultural differences that we have.
Sao đây?
Of course, picking your nose.
That's been brought up before, yeah, definitely. That was when I first moved here. Was you couldn't understand going to a coffee shop and seeing a guy with his finger like knuckle deep up his nose.
And then another thing is that kissing, not mouth kissings, but here, people kiss differently. Like when I came back here, I had a girlfriend here, and then I kissed her on a cheek, and she's like, "No, you don't love me." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "You don't kiss the right way," And then my girlfriend went to my other girlfriend, when not my other, but the girlfriend after she went to the U.S. with me, and when she kissed me, and then my employee said, "Oh, she's sniffing you. She's not kissing you." I'm like, "No, Vietnamese do that. They're sniffing, and they call that kissing.
That's a new one then. I didn't know that one.
Sao đây?
I feel like, I don't know if it's something that happens. It's more of like, the first thing that came to mind were like the toilets in the ground, like where you have to stand, where it's like literally there's a hole in the ground, you just squat on top instead of like a toilet. I've been to so many parts of it now where like that's just a situation. So I think that's something, if you've never experienced a non-toilet situation where really there's literally a hole in the ground, you got to kind of like squat into, like that's kind of like probably something new to get used to.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came to Southeast Asia in general, that was one of my biggest fears and was worries. And even now, if you travel outside of Saigon or depending where you go, before you open the door of a bathroom, there's that intrepidation of like, what kind of toilet is it going to be? More often than not, in Vietnam, it is a porcelain toilet bowl. But when you travel, like I was in Myanmar a couple of years ago and I got really sick, really, really sick. And the only toilet they had was a squat toilet. And that has to be one of the lowest points of my life when you are very, very ill and the only amenities is a squat toilet. I'll maybe cut this bit out because that's absolutely disgusting.
I don't add to the squat toilet. It's also like you have to like grab water with a bucket and then like pour it into the hole in order to flush it. There's no flush handle. You have to like literally scoop water from a hole and pour it into the squat toilet. But I do want to say though, like physically speaking, it is healthier to be in a squatting position when you're doing your business than sitting.
Oh, I've seen this infographic, yeah, because this is disgusting because your bowels are like more aligned,
Yes,
right?
Exactly. So, Southeast Asia is something.
But you got to be good at the Asian squat to be able to do that, which is just one of the most amazing things in the world that in Vietnam and in Asia, they can just squat for an indefinite amount of time in any situation, mostly for no reason, like just on the side of the street or just chilling out, like just in the Asian squat.
Yeah, it requires a level of flexibility that must be built up. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something you need to have done from a young age, right? And you watch people who are like older who do it, and it's like, that's incredible that you can still do that.
Sao đây?
I think turning up to invite someone to your wedding in 3 days' time. What's going on with that?
just give anyone who doesn't live here or doesn't understand what you're talking about, just give a quick explanation of why I'm laughing so hard at that.
It happens. It's not like a rarity. Someone sometimes turns up a few days before their wedding and invites you. It's the tradition. I mean, surely you knew that you were going to get married, right? It can't be a surprise to you. But and there's this complete expectation that you won't have anything on that day. and you know, it's often my wedding is at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Like, you're free then, aren't you?
I forgot about that. Yeah, they can be it really. It's not like the traditional where we're from, where it's like a Saturday afternoon. It's just at some time. But they're not all day affairs generally, right? They're just like you come, you eat, you get a couple of pictures, and then you
Which
go.
I love, by the way.
I remember actually, yeah, when Kim and Lewis got married last year, or was that this year? I don't know. All the years are the same now. I can't even keep track of what day it is. It was like the day before, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we've just added another table of 10 people, like my mum's cousins, friends, or something like that." I was like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Yeah, it's fine." I was like, "It's."
And that's the great side of it, right? That complete spontaneity. Whatever happens, sure.
And I love it because just transplant that. Okay, so we're used to that here, and we're like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's what happens." Imagine a wedding in Sydney. The night before the wedding, and you say to the mum says to the bride, "Hey, my cousin wants to bring 10 friends, okay? You've never met them before," because that's what happens. My Kim had never met these people, but she's like, they're coming to the wedding. Imagine that in Australia.
It would be an axe murder scenario, and not a jury would convict.
So let's do.
The ladies that wear pyjama or anybody wearing pyjama in the street. I mean, you wouldn't really see that in France, but I think I'm going to try to bring a trend. I really enjoy like wearing pyjama. It's just comfortable, especially now with the lockdown. Okay, today I'm dressed for you.
Thank you.
Because I've been wearing my pyjama for a while. Actually, my friend that live in the same building as me the other day, like, "Did you ever change?" Fuck you! Yeah, I have a few pajamas that I wash and change.
Friendships, you know, when men and men would just like walk together and have the hand over the other person's shoulder. Yeah. You know? I think this is a very typical reaction of a very normal relationship in Vietnam. Yeah. When it's a childhood, and even they get older, you know, they still like shoulder to shoulder, and I think to some country which is a little bit more like how you say that, they would look a little bit like.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease. And I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you are listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.